Welcome, everybody, to Wahoo Warrior Basketball, taking on Wayne today as we see the Blue Devils come in, take on the Warriors. First the girls and then the boy varsity teams. Plus, we have a lot of entertainment going on. The pep band doing a great job. We'll have halftime shows going on and, of course, basketball. I want to say thank you to all the sponsors part of the broadcast. You can see them in the upper left-hand corner. We keep adding more cameras to our situation, and so hopefully be able to see every angle. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. So just taking a moment, making sure the stream is going well. So for those of you out there watching, thank you for joining us and being a part of the broadcast. So the next game that we're going to be seeing is coming up on the 19th at home as Wahoo takes on Arlington. Looking forward to that. And they've had some tough games already as they have faced off against Bennington already. Norris, tough teams right there. And showing up well as we really just appreciate and show the hard work that they've been putting in all of this season. So let's take a quick look at all the sponsors as we are a part of the Wahoo Athletic Booster Club and bringing you the coverage right here. I want to say thank you to JEO, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoo State Bank, UBT, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Home Real Estate, Titles, Scooters, Retire Path Advisors, and Simon's Home Store, Inspiro, Dairy Queen, Rivalry, Husband's Approval Boutique, Tim Molly Construction, Wahoo Concrete. Again, want to say thank you to everybody. And then as we continue on, we'll find out the main sponsors. They're a part of this. So, again, I'm just a minute away, and then we'll get the introduction of all of the players, the national anthem, and, of course, have the game get underway. Thank you for everybody being a part of this. In multiple ways you can watch this and listen. You can certainly go to bsdnlive.com and then click on the Wahoo Warrior link. Also, you can go to Wahoo Public Schools YouTube, Saunders County Online YouTube, and 99.3 FM, wahooradio.com. So let's go ahead and listen in as the stadium announcers help us out here. So let's go ahead and take a look at the starting lineup. Number 2 for the Blue Devils, Haley Kramer. Number 4, Ellie Powicki. Number 5, Reagan McGuire. Number 22, Alexis Ledger. And 34, Libby Goebbels. We do have a varsity team that is made up majority of seniors and a few juniors, a couple of sophomores in there. And now they're introducing a video that the production class was able to put on for the Warriors. So now the starters for the Warriors, starting off with 0, Addison Hancock, 5'3", senior. Number 2, a 5'5", senior, Aaron Galladay. Number 5, a 5'6", junior, Olivia Wesley. Number 13, a 5'8", junior, Karen Eady. And number 25, a 5'11", sophomore, Claire Emerson. That's your starting lineup. Head coach Sean Forbes, assistant coach Andy Klepper, Brandon Zertok, and Kendall Holfelker. So again, coaches for the Blue Devils include Aaron Carlson, assistant coaches Riley Shaw, Kyle Nelson. All right, so it is time for the tip-off. We have Claire Emerson tipping off against Alexis Ledger. And it is won by the Blue Devils. Blue Devils have it at the top of the key. Come to the left side. Looking for help. Gets it in underneath. Picks up the dribble to the outside. Goes around top of the key. Passes it back over to Poecki. Poecki looking for help. Hands it over to Ledger. Ledger sends it back out to Kramer. Kramer hands it off to McGuire. McGuire gets it in underneath, and it almost turned over, but a short shot goes up as a jump ball right there, and so that is now handed off to the possession arrow for the Warriors. Galladay gets it to the top of the key. Passes it back over, and it's intercepted and sent out, but tries to save it, and then the Blue Devils send it back outside. So it's inbound. The inbound comes in to Galladay. Galladay at the top of the key, calls the play, sends it to the right side. Claire Emerson on the left, top it back to the top of the key for Wesley. Wesley back over to Emerson. Emerson sends it all the way across in a three-point attempt, and that is good by Hancock. Full court press by the Warriors. And then really just a desperation attempt to get it out, to get it down court. We see a turnover back over to the Warriors. Galladay back over to Wesley. Wesley sends all the way across to the far side. Hancock with another three-point attempt, a little long on that, but rebound by Wesley. Back to the top of the key, all the way across, and Galladay. Galladay on the far corner. Bounce pass underneath to Emerson. And Wesley gets called for the travel. So turnover back over to the Blue Devils. Blue Devils inbound. Again, full court press. 3-0, 6:02 left in the first period. Gets bounced underneath as Poecki gets it all the way across to the far side. Running into the lane and not able to get it to go up. Off of the hands of, I believe that was Emerson. goes out of bounds, stays with the Wayne. Blue Devils looking to inbound. Send it in, gets it to Kramer. Kramer passes to the far side. Three-point attempt, and that one rims out. Emerson attempts to rebound, but it gets pushed out of bounds and called against the Warriors. So Blue Devils inbound again. Nice inbound, but not able to go to get it to drop in. Retrieved now by McGuire. McGuire goes, gets it, hands it over to Goebbels, Lily Goebbels, and tries to go in, but draws the foul, and so then it gets the inbound. So that's first team foul for the Warriors. Kramer gets it over. The three-point attempt is short, and rebound by the Warriors. Warriors get it down the court. Try to get underneath. Picked up by Emerson, who just gets in the lane but sends it back out to Edie. Edie goes bounce pass in underneath. The pass back out to Emerson is off the fingertips, out of bounds, turnover to the Blue Devils. So looks like we have a couple of Blue Devils coming in. So Mallory Redden comes in, as well as Addison Frank. The inbound. Policki not able to get it across the timeline yet. Turnover to the Warriors. So the timeout is actually called, and so again, so it actually remains the Blue Devils ball. So let's go ahead and say thank you to sponsors again, a part of all of the broadcast. JEO. JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, Retire Path Advisors, Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Berkshire Hathaway and Brasser Real Estate, Tammy Bennett, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. Blue Devils get down the timeline and try to travel into the lane. That's back to the top of the key. Bounce pass to the near side. Open three attempt, and that is drains it by Mallory Redden. Warriors send on the far side as Roberts looking for help. Bounce pass back out to the top of the key for Emerson. Emerson back to Roberts. Three-point attempt there, and that is drained. Three, so exchanging three-pointers. Both teams are all the scores from outside that three-point line. Driving in the lane, takes a stop and hands it out to the left side, right side. Short and rebound by the Warriors, Mollander. Back to the top of the key, all the way across, but miscommunication, throws it out of bounds. Turnover to the Blue Devils. 3:39 left of the first period. Warriors are leading 6-3. Inbound by the Blue Devils. No press, gets across the timeline without any issues. Pass to the left side. Kramer moving in, passes it back out to Lutter. All the way across to the far side, back to Kramer. Kramer gets it back to the top of the key. McGuire gets it underneath to Lutter. Tries to put it up and is able to get it to drop in. Warriors now on the move. Galladay across the timeline. Hands it off to the near side to Gregg. Molander back over to Hancock. Back to Gregg. Gregg gets it in to Roberts, who drives the lane and draws the penalty on the way up. So that's a first personal foul and first team foul for the Blue Devils. Mallory Redden taking the foul on that. And we have Talion Roberts, first attempt, a little hard. Karen Eady is back in the game, replacing Nevaeh Molander. Second attempt, and that one is off the mark. So, 0% of the free throw line. 3-point attempt, and that one is drained by Addison Frank. And that puts Wayne ahead 8-6. Eady regaining the ball, sends it over to Gregg, who drops it in the lane, ties it up with 2. Another 3-point attempt, and that one is short. Rebound is turned over to Galladay, who gets it down. Across the timeline. Drives in, and it goes out of bounds off of a deflection from one of the Blue Devils, so it stays with the Warriors. Tied at 8, minute 49 left of the first period. Good game, good battle. Seeing a high percentage on those 3-point shots for both teams. Inbound, tries to get it to Gregg, but not able to get it over there. The pass stolen and on the ground, picked up by the Blue Devils. Drive the lane, but ends up traveling. So turnover back over to the Warriors. Minute 35 left of the first period. Inbound. Hancock gets it back over to Eady. Eady sends it forward to Galladay. Galladay, bounce pass underneath to Gregg, puts it up, not able to get it to drop in. Rebound by the Blue Devils. Blue Devils get it across, drive to the near side. Bounce pass gets over to Pawicki. Underneath to Goebbels, who puts it up, gets fouled, does not drop in, but that should send her to the free throw line. And so that is the first personal foul for Gregg. Second team foul. First attempt off the back of the rim. Gregg coming out, replaced by Emerson. Second attempt, and that one is long, and Emerson with the rebound. Gets it over to Galladay, sends it all the way forward. Back to the top of the key for Emerson. Emerson drives in, and it's a jump ball. I believe the possession arrow is for the Blue Devils. So now the Blue Devils inbound. Double team, gets a pass across, gets across the timeline. Over to the near side, drives the lane, puts it up, and that is to the bottom of the hoop, but rebound by Eady. Eady gets it over to Galladay. Galladay drives to the far side to Hancock, top of the key. Hancock bounce pass underneath to Eady. Eady looking for help. The pass to Galladay is off target and ends up being a jump ball, so it stays with the Warriors. Warriors inbound, go to the far side for Emerson. Emerson passes it all the way back out to Wesley. Wesley looking for help. Gets it over to Hancock. Attempts the three. Just a hair long. Rebound by the Blue Devils. Attempt on that one goes out of bounds, and now we have a timeout. Timeout is called by the Warriors at this point. Then want to say thank you to all of the sponsors, part of our broadcast. JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors. Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. Today's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett. So again, say thank you to all of them and the Wahoo Booster Club for being a part of the student activities. And you can see the big digital scoreboard on the far side of the gym. That is what they're raising funds for. All right, Blue Devils inbound. Top of the key is Lily Johnson. I believe that's her number over there. Gets it all the way across to Kramer. Try to get it underneath. Back out to Redden. Redden sends it to the far side. Kramer almost loses it, but picked up by the Blue Devil. Near side 3-point, and that is a little long. But rebound by Kramer, who tries to put it up, but sends it back out to Legger. And then we see Mallory Redden drive in for the two. Wayne with the lead, 10-8, 7:14 left of the half. Hancock gets it back out to Edie. Edie sends it over to Wesley. Wesley looking for help, gets it back out to the top of the key for Emerson. Sends it all the way across, going up, and a little strong. Galladay just not able to get that one to drop in. Blue Devils on the attack. Across the top of the key. Bounce pass underneath. Looking for help. Finds Frank. Frank sends it all the way back out to Redden. Back to Frank, who looked at the 3-point. Dribbles once and sends it back over to Redden. Underneath, 2 seconds left. Rebound by the Warriors. They send that all the way forward. Tries to drive up and able to get it to drop in, but they're saying it's an offensive foul. And so the score does not count. Wayne on the attack on the far side. Kramer back to Kramer, and then we have Redden. Redden gets it underneath, back to Frank. Tries to go underneath, out of bounds, and turns it over to the Warriors. Inbound to Galladay. Galladay looking for help at the timeline. Double team. Bounce pass. Gets in. Emerson drives in. Is able to get it to put up and go in. Goes across to Kramer. Kramer sends it over to Frank, who tries a three. It's a little long. And it goes out of bounds. And it should be off. That was definitely off of Lily Grubels, but had a little confusion on there. So, yes, but it is called for the Warriors ball. Several players coming on to the court for the Blue Devils. for Warriors. Tied it at 10. Across the top of the key all the way to the far side for Galladay. Galladay picks it up looking for help, gets it to Wesley. Wesley back to Galladay. Galladay underneath. All the way to the near side back to Wesley. Wesley sends it to Hancock. Hancock to Galladay. Galladay gets it back over to Wesley. Puts it up for two. It rims back out and rebound by the Blue Devils, who send it forward. All the way across to the near side. Top of the key, McGuire tries to get underneath as Kramer tries to put it up. And the rebound, tries to get her own rebound, goes out of bounds. Turnover to the Warriors. Again, tied at 10, 4:36 left of the half. Too many players on for the Warriors, so they had to kind of make an adjustment. Back to Galladay. Almost stole that. Galladay on the, Galladay on the far side. Bounce pass underneath to Greg. Greg had to pick it up. Galladay now coming around to the top of the key. Over to Hancock. Looked at the three-point. Looking for help. Gets it all the way across to the near side over to Roberts. Roberts puts it up, but it's blocked. Greg in the battle for the ball, but there is a penalty called, and that is the first team foul against the Blue Devils. And let's see who is it called against. They haven't put that up yet. Tapped on that pass and picked up by the Blue Devils, and now we have a jump ball, and the possession arrow favors the Warriors. So Hancock comes out, replaced by Emerson. For the Blue Devils, they have Kramer coming out, and she is replaced by Alexis Ledger. Inbound to Greg. Greg sends it all the way across to Galladay. Galladay to the far side for Emerson, who attempts the three, and the battle for the rebound. Goes to the Blue Devils. And now we have a penalty is against Talion Roberts for the Warriors, a second team foul. First personal foul. Blue Devils get across the timeline on the far side. Tipped pass, but the Blue Devils recover. Three-point attempt is long, and that is picked up by Emerson. Emerson drives in, puts it up, and Blue Devils able to recover. Full court fight. Send to the near side. Driving the lane. Not able to get it to drop in. Warriors with a rebound, and on the attack, the pass from Galladay to Emerson was tapped out of bounds by a Blue Devil. Inbound. Emerson back to Galladay. Galladay gets it in underneath to Edie. Back over to Hancock looking at the three, and that one is just off the mark and bounced around. Rebound by the Blue Devils. Blue Devils send it back to the top of the key. Come back around. Ledger gets it in underneath, and the attempt goes up. Rebound. It's tapped out of bounds by the Warriors. So Blue Devils maintain possession. Mallory Redden inbound. Sends it back to the top of the key for Frank. Frank gets it back over to Redden. Redden calling the play. Passes it to the left side to Kramer, back to Redden, back to Kramer. Kramer drives in, comes back out to Redden. Redden sends to the far side to Frank. Frank back to Redden. Underneath to Ledger, who gets fouled on the way up, so that is sending her to the free throw line. First attempt is up, and that one, it bounces around and drops in. So the Blue Devils take the lead, 11-10. Second attempt is up, and that one bounces out. Rebound is by Emerson. Emerson gets it over to Galladay, sends it forward to Edie. Edie back to Galladay, back to Edie. Edie looking for help, sends it all the way across to Wesley. Wesley picks it up, gets it over to Emerson. Emerson underneath Wesley all the way across to Hancock. Hancock dribbles towards the top of the key, back to Wesley. Wesley at the top of the key looking for help. Pivots around, bounce pass to Hancock for the three-point attempt. That one's off the mark. Rebound by Galladay. Galladay able to bounce pass back out to Hancock. And that is a timeout called right there. It's a nice battle right now. Minute 22 left of the first half. Warriors versus West Point. The Blue Devils leading away 11-10. Tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett. We also want to say thank you to all the sponsors: JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors, Sedona Wahoo Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Warriors get to inbound. Back to Hancock. Hancock sends it over to the far side, back to Galladay. Then Hancock looked at the three. Top of the key for Galladay, across to Wesley. Wesley back to Galladay, underneath to Edie. Back, miscommunication on that pass. Stolen away by the Blue Devils. Blue Devils at the top of the key. Back to the near side. Bounce pass underneath, able to get it out and looked at the three, but decided to pass to the top of the key. All the far side, a three-point attempt, and that one is just off the mark. Rebound by the Warriors. They get it over to Galladay. Galladay at the top of the key. Back to Wesley. Wesley gets it all the way to the near side to Emerson. Emerson drives in. And kind of a battle right there underneath the hoop, and they call the Blue Devils on a travel, as there was kind of a bump there. Definitely not intentional, but could have gone either way on that call. Galladay driving in, gets it over to Wesley. Wesley puts it up, bounces out, rebound by Redden. And called as a jump ball, turnover to the Blue Devils. 6 seconds left of the half. Blue Devils lead 11-10. Italian Roberts comes in for Karen Edie. Blue Devils on the move. 2 seconds, 1 second. And no shot made. That is halftime. So, first half complete. battled back and forth, quite a few turnovers as we see both teams started off hot on the three-point line. But then the battle became quite a challenge for both teams. And we wrap up the first half as the Blue Devils lead over the Warriors 11-10. Now we will have the Winter Guard come out to do they've been practicing this for a long time. We'll let them be able to do that. Unfortunately, we cannot play all of the music that they may be doing because of copyrights on YouTube. If it was just the radio, then we could get away with it. But we will let things go here. So enjoy the Winter Guard here. Winter Guard right there as they were able to do their very first presentation. So that was a very good thing to see. So now, the scholarship shot contest to see if individuals can qualify for the chance to win scholarship. And they have 30 seconds to be able to make a short shot, a free throw, and then a three-pointer. If they're able to make all three, then they are able to go in, their name is put in to the drawing for scholarships. So while that's going on, neither one were able to accomplish that, but the scholarship is out there, so for people to be able to try that. So again, a great way to encourage the students to get out and continue on with their education. Tonight's game is sponsored by Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett. We do want to say thank you to all the sponsors, including JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors. Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett, again tonight's sponsor. Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. Well, the first half is complete, and it is a tight game. Imagine it's going to be a battle all the way through. 1 point separates the two. Blue Devils lead the Warriors 11-10. All right, we're getting ready for the second half of basketball as the Lady Warriors take on the Lady Blue Devils. Warriors will receive the ball. Inbound at the beginning. Inbound to Galladay. Galladay sets up, goes to Wesley on the near side. Wesley back to the top of the key, picks it up, looking for help. Galladay and all the way to Hancock. Three-point attempt just off the mark, and rebound by McGuire. Actually, that was Kramer, sorry. Back to the top of the key with McGuire now. Passes it back over to Powicki. Powicki gets it back to the top of the key for Kramer. Kramer drives in, hands it off to Goebbels. But stolen away by the Warriors. Going up, and the foul is not called against. It is against the Warriors, as Karen Eady just went in to go up, and everybody anticipated that was against the Blue Devils, but no. Karen Eady comes out for the moment. Full court press on the Blue Devils, double teamed over there, gets it back over to Pollocky. Tries to send it forward. And a timeline violation. Not able to get it to cross the timeline in time, so turnover back over to the Warriors. Hancock inbounds to Galladay. Galladay drives to the left side, picks up the ball looking for help. Bounce pass underneath to Molinder. Gets all the way across to Hancock to Galladay on the near side. Molinder back to Galladay. Wesley at the top of the key. Hancock looking at the three. Drives across to the top of the key. Bounce pass underneath. 3 seconds left of the shot clock. And shot clock violation, turnover to the Blue Devils. Good defense by the Blue Devils. Not giving the Warriors any shot at that point. Blue Devils inbound. They get it back over to McGuire. McGuire trying to get it across the timeline, able to move it forward to Kramer. And then called for the travel. Turnover back over to the Warriors. Galladay coming up the center. Picks it up. Over to Wesley. Wesley gets it underneath to Molinder. Loses it with a pass. Blue Devils on the attack. On the far side is Powicki. Powicki hands it off to McGuire. McGuire looking for help. Stolen away by Wesley for the Warriors. Gets it in underneath, all the way back out to Hancock. Hancock picks it up, sends it to Wesley on the far side. Wesley, bounce pass underneath. And that was stolen away by Kramer for the Blue Devils. 3-point attempt, and that one was off the mark and goes out of bounds. Turnover to the Warriors. Quite a few players traded out for the Blue Devils. We'll call their names as we go. So we see Emerson inbound to Galladay. Galladay gets across the timeline. Picks it up to Wesley. I'm sorry, that's actually Roberts. Bounce pass underneath is stolen away by the Blue Devils. Blue Devils at the top of the key. Send it in and stolen by the Warriors. The attack comes in, and so that was called as a jump ball. And the possession arrow over to the Blue Devils. Blue Devils with a three-point attempt, and that one's off the mark. Rebound. Put it up, and again off the mark. Warriors with the rebound. That was Emerson. Sends it to Galladay. Three-point attempt. And so the three-point attempt by Talian Roberts got fouled on that shot, so sends her to the free throw line. It's up and good. Ties it up. 4:16 left of the third period. That was the first score of this half. Second one, and that is good. So we trade leads. Warriors now. And there's a third. It was a three-point shot that she got fouled on, so she gets a third attempt. And that one rims out. Rebound by the Blue Devils. They get it over to Frank. Frank gets across the timeline to Redden. Redden at the top of the key. Back over to Frank. Frank gets the screen, drives in, picks it up, looking for help. Bounce pass over to Redden. Redden goes across the top of the key, and then foul against the Warriors. And that is the second team foul and the second personal foul for Talian Roberts. .349 left of the third period, 12-11. Inbound, 3 points, and that is good. The inbound to Addison Frank, the three-point attempt was good. And so that changes the lead again. Hancock gets it back over to Roberts. Roberts drives in, puts it up, gets fouled on the way up, so she gets to go to the free throw line for two. If she gets both of these, that'll tie it up. First attempt is off to the right, so one more attempt. So Gregg comes out, is replaced by Mollander. Roberts. Second attempt is good. So we're back to a 1 point lead for the Blue Devils. And he handed it over to Frank. Frank looking for help. Gets it back over to Redden. Redden comes in. Collision right there. Redden sends it out. Tapped, but able to be picked up by McGuire. McGuire sends it back over to Redden. Redden underneath to Lutter. Lutter turns around. The jumper comes out, and that is rebounded by Melander. Handed off to Galladay. Galladay to Wesley. Wesley to Hancock. Back to Wesley on the near side. Wesley back to Hancock. Hancock gets it in underneath to Emerson, and then send it back out to Galladay. Back over to Wesley on the near side. Wesley to Galladay on the far side. And then contact. It's a third team foul for the Blue Devils. First personal foul for Addison Frank. Warriors get it to Galladay. Galladay travels around to the top of the key. Now it's passed to Hancock back to Galladay. Connected there. And quick call on the jump ball. I think that was payback for an earlier jump ball call. Inbounds to Galladay. Galladay sends it to Hancock. Hancock back to Galladay. Galladay to Hancock. Looked at the three. Picked it up. Bounce pass to Galladay. Hancock again gets it in underneath. And going up, Emerson gets the foul. So that is sending Emerson to the free throw line. Claire Emerson. So that is the fourth team foul. Second personal foul for Claire Luter for the Blue Devils. Minute 51 left of the third period. First attempt is up, and that is good. Nothing but net. Ties it up at 14. Four players come in for the Blue Devils. They've done that several times where they basically replaced the entire team. Second is good. Trades the lead again. Warriors now up by one over the Blue Devils, 15-14. Bounce pass comes in, sends it forward. Blue Devils on the attack, drives up, puts it up, and is able to drop that one. And Kramer with the two. Bounce pass underneath. And that one goes out of bounds as there was a collision there. But they call that out of bounds off of Lily Goebbels. Warriors with the inbound. But Ledger with the steal. Blue Devils onto the near side. Policki gets it over the top of the key for Kramer. Kramer drives in, turnaround jumper, and that one rims out. And that is retrieved by the Warriors. Get it over to Galladay. Galladay trap double team. Now coach for the Warriors, Sean Forbes, is mad because he was over trying to call a timeout and couldn't get anybody's attention on that one, so they're saying it's a turnover to the Blue Devils. To the far side, Kramer drives in and is able to get that one to drop in. Inbound is stolen away. And then when we come down, we see Claire Emerson comes in, and she gets fouled. So that sends her, as that is the fifth team foul. So she gets to go to the free throw line, the penalty line. First attempt is long. Mount rims out. So Reagan McGuire with her second personal foul. Warriors in a bonus, 42 seconds left. Second attempt, and that one bounces out. Rebound by the Blue Devils. They get it across the timeline. Driving in on the far side, loses control of it. Battle for the ball, it's on the ground. And we should see a jump ball at this point. Possession arrow favors the Blue Devils, so Blue Devils with the inbound. Drives to the top of the key. Has to pick up the dribble. Drives in the lane. Pass gets sent over the far side. Had to retrieve it. Bounce pass underneath. Turnaround jumper. And Greg gets called for the foul on the way up. So that is sending Lily Goebbels to the free throw line. That first attempt is off to the right. Second attempt is up, and that one rims out. Rebound by the Blue Devils. And that is the end of the third period. 3-point lead by the Blue Devils, 18-15. Let's go ahead and say thank you to all the sponsors, part of the broadcast and part of the athletic department. Tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett. We also want to say thank you to JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors. Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic and Acupuncture, Rivalry, Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. Coming out of the half, the Blue Devils led by 1. Now they lead by 3. A lot of trade-off for all of the lead changes were numerous during that third period. So now we have the Warriors with the inbound. Goes to the top of the key. Comes around to the near side. Galladay gets it back out to Emerson. Emerson picks up the ball. Back to Galladay on the near side. Looks at the three. Hesitant, but able to get it up there. And it bounces off the back of the backboard. So it's a turnover to the Blue Devils. Full court press double team. Sends it on over. Another double team able to be set up. Drives in underneath and loses the ball out of bounds, and that is off the Blue Devils. So turnover back over to the Warriors. Emerson to inbound. Galladay with the ball. Wesley gets it in underneath to Emerson. Emerson tries to put it up, but not able to get that to go, and stolen away by the Blue Devils. Redden on the attack, hands it off to Kramer. Kramer across the top of the key. 3-point attempt by Pawlicki, and that is rebounded by Wesley. Wesley sends it to Hancock on the near side. Hancock to the Galladay, back over to Wesley. Wesley back to Hancock at the top of the key. Single dribble, gets it in underneath to Edie. Edie turned around, but looked at it, but didn't pull the trigger. Back out to Edie. Edie sends it all the way across to Galladay. Back underneath to Edie. Does pull the trigger at this point and draws the foul. Does not get the basket, but so that does send her to the free throw line. 6:32 left of the game. Blue Devils leading the Warriors 18-15. First attempt now cuts into that lead. It's a 2-point game now. Next one up and good. So it's a 1-point game yet again, and a good attack right there as Wesley tries to take it away. Multiple turnovers. Full court press, and Timeout is called by the Blue Devils as they were just not able to get there and they didn't want to run out of time. Again, we want to say thank you to all the sponsors. Just a quick reminder, tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett. So we want to say thank you to sponsors like that. Also, if you want to learn more about how to sponsor, how to be a part of the athletic department right here at Wahoo Public Schools, you can certainly contact the activities director or go to the Facebook page. Just search Wahoo Athletics and you'll be able to get to their page. After the timeout, Blue Devils get to inbound, but they pulled the trigger on the timeout. They were just not able to get anywhere. So it gets to Kramer. Kramer drives, gets across the timeline onto the far side. Sends it out to the top of the key for Redden. Redden back to Kramer. Kramer crosses the top of the key, sends it underneath to Powiski, drives in. Underneath, and Goebbels tries to put it up. Not able to get a drop and goes out of bounds. Warriors with the ball. Hancock tries to send it forward and going in and going up. Emerson able to drive in and get it to drop for two. Takes over the lead, and she gets fouled on the way up, so an old-fashioned three-point attempt is coming up here. That is up, and it rims out, but the battle is a jump ball. Possession arrow is for the Blue Devils. So Pawlicki inbounds to Redden. Stolen away by the Warriors. Gets it back up underneath. So Karen Eady goes up. It comes out. A rebound attempt was by Emerson, but it goes out of bounds off of the Blue Devils. So the Warriors get another attempt. Comes in. Wesley puts it up. Not able to get a drop. Rebound by Kramer. Kramer takes it across the timeline, sends it over to Redding. Redden calling the top key back to Emerson, to Kramer. Kramer on the right side, sends it all the way across to Frank. Frank on the left side. Hasn't dribbled, starts to dribble, picks it up. Kramer driving into the lane. Missed time on that one, and is called for the travel and turnover back over to the Warriors. Warriors now leading 19-18, 5:01 left of the game. Everybody pulls back. Time to take a breath. Holiday at the top of the key. Gets it in underneath to Emerson. Emerson sends it back out. And Emerson drives around a little too hard. Rebound by the Blue Devils. So Claire Luter with the rebound. Gets it back over to Redden. Redden hands it off to Frank. Frank sends it over to Kramer. Kramer back to Frank. Frank underneath, and wide open underneath was Mallory Redden with the two. The trade over, the lead trades again. Hancock gets it to Galladay. Galladay gets it back underneath to Emerson. Emerson looking for help, puts it up, and that one rims out. Goes out of bounds, and they call that out of bounds off of Kramer. So it stays with the Warriors. They get to inbound underneath their own basket. Gets it to Wesley. Wesley immediately shot, and that was off mark. Rebound by the Blue Devils. Blue Devils, they get it over to Mallory Redden. Redden bounce pass into Legger. But the pass inside was stolen. And with that, we see the Warriors take a timeout. So 19-20, the Blue Devils lead. 3:42 left of the game. And back and forth, been trading leads multiple times this game. Taking a full timeout. So again, we want to say thank you to all the sponsors, including Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett, the game sponsor for tonight. Plus all the other sponsors, including JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors. Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. All right, well, we are wrapping up this game. 1 point separate the two. Warriors inbound. 3:42 left of the game. Galladay at the top of the key, passes it over to Hancock. Hancock looks around, gets it back over to Edie. Edie back to Hancock. Hancock to Wesley. Wesley gets it in underneath to Emerson. Looked at the shot, but back out to Wesley at the top of the key. Hancock took the three, and that one rims out. And rebound by McGuire for the Blue Devils. Blue Devils on the far side. Frank picks it up, looking for help. Gets it back over to McGuire. McGuire underneath to Legger. Legger to McGuire. Back to Frank. Frank gets it over to Polwicki. That three-point attempt was not good. And a rebound by Galladay. Galladay gets it to Hancock. Hancock back over to Wesley, underneath to Emerson. Emerson looking for help. Gets it over to Galladay. Galladay back underneath and all the way to the top. And three-point by Wesley, and that one is good. So that trades the lead again, 21-20. Going up underneath. And going in, and a quick timeout was called by the Blue Devils. So it gives everybody a chance to be able to talk about it. 2:16 left. It's a full timeout. Warriors lead 20-21. Again, I want to say thank you to game sponsor tonight is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett. Other sponsors we want to say thank you to, part of the Athletic Booster Club, include JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon Home Store and Retire Path Advisors, Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. Following this game will be the Warrior boys taking on the Blue Devil boys. Now Blue Devils inbound because they had possession when they did the timeout. Gets it underneath Tim Kramer. And that one is a turnover to the Warriors. Inbound to Galladay. Galladay picks it up. Gets across the timeline to Hancock. Hancock drives in, picks it up, and loses it. Picked up by the Blue Devils. And that was McGuire. McGuire at the top of the key. Passes it over to Polwicki. Polwicki Bounce pass to Frank. Frank dribbles, picks up the dribble. Get it in underneath to Lutter. Puts it up and loses it. Wesley picks up the ball. Drives in. Batted away by Kramer. Kramer sends it back over to McGuire. And as we see the rebound by Galladay, then the Warriors take a timeout. Minute 23 left. Short timeout again. If you want to be a part of the Booster Club, be able to help bring the activities online as well as help the students with the scoreboard that they have brought in here, you can certainly contact the Wahoo Athletics Booster Club and the activities department right here at Wahoo Public Schools. You can find these games multiple ways. bsdnlive.com. Click on the Wahoo Warrior link. Saunders County Online YouTube, Wahoo Public Schools YouTube. 99.3 FM, Saunders County, and WahooRadio.com. Wesley picks up the ball, gets it back over to Galladay. Galladay gets called for the handover, so turnover back over to the Blue Devils. Blue Devils inbound. McGuire passes it over, almost stolen by Hancock. Driving in, sends all the way across to Frank. Frank to Kramer. Kramer bounce pass underneath. Stolen by the Warrior. Gets it over to Galladay. Galladay driving, but loses it. And that is picked up by Kramer. So Haley Kramer picks it up, and then 39.4 seconds left. Blue Devils take a timeout. Can't do these broadcasts without sponsors like tonight's game sponsors, Berkshire Hathaway Home and Services, Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett. Also other sponsors that are through all seasons, all school year. JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank in Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store and Retire Path Advisors, Sid Dillon at Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth, Molly Construction. Blue Devils taking the full time of their timeout. 39.4 seconds left. Warriors leading by 1. Onto the far side. The pass comes in. And the penalty is called against the Warriors. It's the 4th personal foul for Karen Eady. Inbound to Frank. Frank gets it over to McGuire. McGuire sends it in underneath. And it goes off the rim. 21 seconds left. Coach Forbes had to go across the court in order to get their attention to call the timeout. Definitely showing some frustration, but the Warriors with the ball. And just a few seconds left of the game, leading by 1, 21-20. Not a high-scoring game, but a battle nonetheless. Coming up after this, obviously there'll be a little bit of a break, and then the boys hit the court. All right. 17 seconds left. Warriors with the inbound. Apparently, they decided to take another timeout. Not sure what happened there, but so that was the last timeout for the Warriors. And everybody's kind of showing some emotion there, and I'm kind of wondering if we see a little emotion from the officials on that one as well. Tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett. Also say thank you to all the sponsors that are part of all of our broadcasts all school year long, from volleyball, softball, football. We have basketball, boys and girls basketball, wrestling, baseball coming up. Again, it is all about the Warriors. Talk about the sponsors coming up. So again, 17.7 seconds left of the game. The Warriors with a 1-point lead, 21-20. Bounce pass underneath. And the penalty is, so Galladay gets called, and so that's the third team foul, first personal foul with only a second and a half taken off the clock. Warriors with the next inbound. Sends it all the way down and wide open, puts it up and in and drops it in. 3-point lead now. With 6 seconds left, the Warriors with a 3-point lead. And so they will take a full timeout now. Again, I want to say thank you to all the sponsors that are a part of our broadcast. Again, tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett. We also want to say thank you to JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors. Sit down at Wahoo. Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. So we have the Blue Devils with the inbound, 6 seconds left, down by 3. The Warriors 23-20. The inbound comes in. A penalty called against the Warriors with 1.3 seconds left, and that's the first personal foul for Galladay. One shot here, he gets it inbound. They have to take the 3-point, and that is off the mark, and that is the game. Warriors win 23-20. Congratulations. It's a great day to be a Warrior. And again, we'll take a little bit of a break and then come back with the boys basketball team taking on the Blue Devils. So stay right here or come back. You can watch this anytime on any of the channels that we have. That's bstnlive.com. Click on the Wahoo Warriors link. You can also go to Wahoo Public Schools YouTube, Saunders County Online YouTube, and 99.3 FM, wahooradio.com. It's the Wahoo Warriors taking on Wayne Blue Devils. Game number 2 tonight for us. Again, say thank you to all the sponsors. You'll see them in the upper right-hand corner as we continue on. Let's go ahead and listen into the starting lineups.
Number 14, Brody Hunter. Number 15, Jace Jorgensen. Number 23, Drew Whitehart. Number 32, Theo Lawson. And number 33, Jackson Denico. Head coach for the Blue Devils is Rob Sweetman.
So as we continue on, we see that they are celebrating the tradition of boys basketball right here. The Warriors is about to introduce.
Number 0, the 6'4" sophomore, Henry Block. Number 2, the 5'9" senior, Kip Brigham. Number 4, the 5'10" senior, Jace Kaminsky. Number 5, the 6'5" senior, Cody Hesser. And number 23, the 6'4" senior, Eli Zeta. The assistant coach for the Warriors, like Omar Talman and Max Cooney, Noah Workman. The head coach is TJ O'Connor.
All right, we're ready for basketball. Warriors have taken on a couple of tough teams already. Now they get to face off, and so they're going to have Cody Hesser facing against Theo Clausen. And the Warriors win the tip-off. Comes back to Kip Brigham, brings it in. Hesser on the near side. All the way back over to Kip Brigham. Brigham sends it on to Cody Hesser. Hesser drives in. Gets it in underneath. Nice grab by Eli Shada, but not able to control it. Tapped out of bounds off of the Blue Devils. So inbound back into Brigham. Brigham sends it back over to Glock. Glock to Hesser. Hesser on the far side. Comes back to Kaminsky. Kaminsky sends it in underneath. Tries to get it back in underneath. Wide open underneath. Just not able to do anything with it. But as he rebounds and tries to go back up, he gets tagged from behind. So first team foul, first personal foul right there. And that goes against Jace Jorgensen. Warriors inbound, top of the key. Hesser on the right-hand side. Picks up, gets it over to Shada. Shada back across to Kaminsky. Kaminsky at top. Hesser on the right now. Turns around, but loses control. It was knocked out of Hesser's hands by Blue Devils, so it stays with the Warriors. And a long three, and that is good. Blue Devils on the attack now. Across, now they're at the top of the key as Clausen gets it over to Jorgensen. Jorgensen back to Clausen. Clausen with a three. Trading for three. Hesser with the attack gets back out to Brigham. Brigham over to Kaminsky. Back to Hesser with a three. And that one rims out. Underneath another three-pointer, and that is good. Blue Devils now take a 6-3 lead. Very similar to what happened with the ladies earlier. Three-point shots were flying at the beginning of that game as well. Back to Hesser all the way across to Brigham. Brigham at the top, drives in the lane, turnaround jumper. And he is called with the foul, the offensive foul. Turnover back over to the Blue Devils. Inbound. Get it across the timeline. Back across the top of the key. Picks it up looking for help. Calls all the next near side. Drives in the lane. Back out. Looked at the three. Onto the far side. Starts to dribble. Driving in and loses control, but goes off of the hands of the Warriors, so stays with the Blue Devils. That was Theo Clausen driving in and sent it all the way out, but was saving it from the timeline. So 3-point attempt against the backboard, and it goes to the top. It bounces off of the clock. Kaminsky now gets it across the timeline. Hands it off to Brigham. Brigham sends it over to Glock, who attempts the three and is not able to get that one to drop. Rebound by the Blue Devils. Off to the far side. Reinhardt drives in, passes it back over to Munder. Munder across the top of the key, all the way to the top, and on the far side. Clausen gets it now. Driving in and putting it up, but not able to get it to drop. Through many hands, Blue Devils pick it up. Brigham tries to get it into the hands of Hesser and just not able to connect for the slam dunk. Inbound to Nelson. Nelson gets it back over to Jorgensen. Jorgensen gets it in underneath and out of bounds. Nope, they're calling is that a foul. That's a second team foul. First personal foul for Kaminsky. Blue Devils get to inbound. Send it over to the far side to Heathold. Back to the top of the key to Nelson. Nelson driving in and a three-point attempt, and that is off the mark. Hesser with the rebound. Drives in, back out to the top. Kaminsky at the top of the key. Glock back to Hesser. Hesser on the near side. Drives in, underneath, and just too high of a pass to Brigham. But they say it did actually get tapped out by the Blue Devils, so the Warriors get to inbound. Kaminsky bounced past to Shada. Shada turnaround jumper is able to get that one to drop, and 1 point lead for the Blue Devils. Hands it over to Nelson. Nelson gets it across the timeline, top of the key. Hands it off, driving in, and should have cut. Yep, he got called for that travel. I was like, he should have gotten called for that. Kelly inbounds to Kaminsky. Kaminsky calling the play, sends it all the way across to Kelly. Kelly. Shada back to Kaminsky on the right-hand side. Shada drives in, out to Kelly, takes the three, bounces out, rebound by Kaminsky. Shada back, gets fed and goes up 4-2. 3:04. Warriors now with a 1-point lead, 7-6. Blue Devils on the left side, top of the key, looking for help. Passes it over to Heathhold. Glock with a good coverage there. Pass to the far side. Drives in, Heathhold picks it up, looking for help, and Kaminsky takes it away, but it opens it up. And so going in was Jace Jorgensen. He gets fouled on the way up. As the buzzer for the shot clock also went off, so a lot of things held right for that one. Now that ties it up. Seven to 7, 2:31 left of the first period. Second shot is up, and that is good. And with that, we see the Warriors take a timeout. We'll go ahead and say thank you to sponsors, part of our broadcast, part of the Athletic Booster Club as well. Tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett. We also want to say thank you to JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store and Retire Path Advisors, Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Timmons F. Molly Construction. Warriors down by 1, 8-7. Hesser passes off to Kelly. Kelly tries to put it up and gets the penalty as he puts it up. So that is sending him to the free throw line. So Joey Kelly at the free throw line, and that is the first personal foul on Jackson Kneffel. Second team foul. Rims out. So we see Kip Brigham coming in and giving Jace Kaminsky a breather. Second one is up, and rebound by Glock. Picked up by Hancock. All the way across to Hesser. Hesser drives across, gets it back over to Brigham. Brigham calls the play to Hesser on the far side. Hesser driving into the lane, puts it up, and is able to get it to drop in. All right, so now Warriors with the lead. Miscommunication. Blue Devils send it out of bounds, turn it back over to the Warriors as they are able to take over on their half of the court. Glock. And the ball gets tapped out of bounds off of the Blue Devil. Warriors back inbound. Hancock gets it in. Going up and driving in, putting it up, but not able to get it to drop was Brigham. Blue Devils driving across, loses it. Warriors on the far side leading by 1, 9-8. Minute 23 left of the first period. 3-point shot was off to the left. Blue Devils on the attack. Reinhardt passes it back over to Munter. Munter back to Reinhardt. Actually, no, that goes over to Jorgensen. To the top for Nelson. Nelson loses it, and a long three, and it's short, but the rebound was to Munter, who was just waiting for it underneath and able to put it in for 2. And the lead changes again. 38 seconds left of the first period. Hesser with a long three. That one rims out, and the battle for it gets turned over to the Blue Devils. Nelson gets the screen as crosses the timeline. As the far side loses control and goes out of bounds. And so that is a turnover over to the Warriors. Kelly comes out. We see Kaminsky going back. Kaminsky is inbounds to Brigham. Back to Kaminsky. Kaminsky at the top of the key. Passes over to Brigham. Brigham back to Kaminsky. Takes a long three at the buzzer. Bounces out, but and that's actually the end of the first period. The Blue Devils lead the Warriors 10-9. Very similar look to what happened with the ladies earlier. Varsity women did win by 3 points at the end of the previous game. Again, say thank you to all the sponsors, part of our broadcast and part of the scoreboard that you see here in the gymnasium. This is the first season we're able to utilize this. So thank you to everybody who helped put that there. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett, sponsor for the game tonight. You can see all the sponsors in the upper left-hand corner as we continue on. They are part of every broadcast of every game that we bring you right here on VSDNlive.com, Saunders County Online YouTube, Wahoo Public Schools YouTube at 99.3 FM, WahooRadio.com. All right, going into the second period, Blue Devils inbound. At the top of the key as they're coming in, drives in, puts it up. Shot gets blocked, goes out of bounds, stays with the Blue Devils. Drew Reinhardt stepping out to inbound. Underneath. And stolen away. So Jace Kaminsky with the steal. Passes over to Brigham. Back to Hesser at the top of the key. Hesser looking for the screen. All the way across to Hancock. Hancock gets it underneath to Kaminsky. Kaminsky to Shada. Shada gets all the way around to Hesser. Hesser drives in, puts it up, and is able to get it to sink in for 2. Lead changes again. Warriors now ahead 11-10. Pass comes across. Try to take advantage of a 2-on-1. Had to back up and restart over. Underneath. Turnaround jumper, and that was long. Rebound by Hancock. Kaminsky hands it off to Brigham. Brigham sends it over to Hesser on the far side to Hancock at the top of the key. Back over to Kaminsky, and then with open three, but just not able to get the right finesse on that one. Comes out. Penalty on that one's going to be called against Cody Hesser. So that is the first team foul and first personal foul for the Warriors. Blue Devils inbound. Top of the key is, so Munter sends it back out to Jorgensen. Jorgensen now drives in, puts it up, and a rebound by Hesser. Hesser looking to drive the lane, pulls back. Gets it back over to Brigham. So it goes out of bounds off of the Blue Devils. So now we see Kaminsky with the inbound. Sends all the way out to Hesser at the top of the key. Hesser sends it to Kaminsky on the near side. He drives the lane, gets underneath it, the reverse. Rebound by the Blue Devils. Sends it to the far side. Clausen goes around to the top of the key. Gets handed off to Jorgensen, who drives and jumps in the lane, and rebounded by Hesser. Warriors now with the ball. Gets it underneath the shed, and he tries to put it up. It gets fouled, and so that's going to send him to the free throw line for two. Second personal foul for Jackson Kneifel. First team foul for the second period. First attempt is up, and that one is short. Second attempt is up, and that's good. Warriors giving a full blast and able to steal it away. Hesser putting it up and in for two. Now a 14-10 lead, and that causes the Blue Devils to take the timeout. With 5:07 left of the half. Warriors 14, Blue Devils 10. Again, let's say thank you to all the sponsors, including JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors. Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett, the sponsor for tonight's games, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. If you want to learn more about how to be a part of the Athletic Booster Club or all the booster clubs for Wahoo Public Schools and the support of the students, the athletes, and all of the kids, you can certainly go to the Facebook page for the booster clubs or contact the activities department right here at Wahoo Public Schools. So we can see the Blue Devils get to inbound. They're sending Chase Jorgensen back to inbound. Get it over to Munter, back to Jorgensen. Jorgensen getting double teamed. Gets it back over to Reinhardt. Reinhardt to Munter. Munter at the top of the key drives in. And the pass over to Heathold is too strong, goes out of bounds. Turnover to the Warriors. 4:49 left of the half. Kelly unbounds to Kaminsky hands it underneath. And to Kelly, who's able to put it up and drop it in for two. Nelson tries to pass. Again, they're having some communication issues with the movement of the ball and sends it out of bounds and turnover to the Warriors. Kelly sends it in to Kaminsky. Kaminsky gets it inbound. Underneath to Kelly. Kelly passes it out. Kaminsky chases it down. Looking for the drive in. Looking for help. Back out to Glock at the top of the key. Goes across to Shada to Kaminsky. Kaminsky sends it all the way across to Kelly. Kelly to Hesser at the top of the key. Back to Kelly. Kelly with three. Shada with two. Was able to get it up and to drop in. Warriors again. Kelly with a steal. And 2-on-1 and not able to get it to go, but they get the call, the foul. And that against Shada, I believe, the second team foul and the second personal foul. So Eli takes that one, and that will send Jace Jorgensen to the free throw line for 2 attempts. First attempt is up, and that one a little too hard. Warriors up 18-10, 3:36 left of the first half, and second attempt is good. So 18-11, 7-point lead for the Warriors. Hesser inbounds to Kaminsky. Kaminsky gets across the timeline, sends it to the near side to Hancock. Hancock over to Brigham. Brigham back to Kaminsky. Kaminsky at the top of the key, looking for help, but loses control of it. Not able to do anything with it. Blue Devils wait for numbers. Now driving in. Could have been called for a travel on that one, but three-point attempt is off the mark. Rebound by Brigham. Kaminsky sends it to the top of the key to Hesser. Three-point attempt by Kaminsky, and that one rolls off. Full court press. Blue Devils on the far side is Heathhold. Ends up sending it out of bounds, and turnover to the Warriors. Warriors inbound it to Brigham. Brigham sends it over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky drives and sends it all the way across. A three-point attempt by Hancock, and that one's off the mark. Rebound, and that rebound was by Reinhardt. Reinhardt brings it in. Gets it over to Francis. Francis back over to Reinhardt. Tries to get it underneath and taken away by Hancock, who sends it forward to Hesser. Hesser looking to drive in, puts it up and does not get it, but gets his own rebound, puts it up, and this time it was rebound by the Blue Devils. Kneifel gets it across the timeline. Passes it to the near side to Jorgensen. Jorgensen sends it over to Reinhardt. Reinhardt looking to drive in, picks it up, looking for help. Ball is lost. Picked up by the Warriors. Coach is definitely upset about that one. No penalty is called, but it does stay as a Warrior ball. Minute 12 left in the half, 18-11. The Warriors with the lead. Kaminsky inbounds to Hesser. Hesser takes over to Glock with a three-point attempt for Glock is good. Drains that one. And that brings in a timeout. And I believe that timeout is called by the Blue Devils. Minute 3 left. So that's a full timeout. Again, thank you to the sponsors, a part of our broadcast and a part of the athletic department. Tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett. I also want to say thank you to JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors. Sid Dillon of Wahoo. Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Timoseth, Molly Construction. Just over a minute left of the half. Warriors lead 21-11. Blue Devils with the inbound. Full pressure by the Warriors. Pass it off to the near side. Able to get it across the timeline and stolen away by Jace Kaminsky. Sends it forward across. And then we have Hancock who puts it up for two. Wayne passes it in, gets passed back across. Double team, sent forward, gets past the blockers. Driving in, turn around, and jumper, and sent out. Denied by Hesser. Blue Devils inbound. Get over to Clausen. Clausen sends it out to Reinhardt. Reinhardt looking for help. Back over to Munter with a three-point attempt, and 10.2 seconds left. Inbound to Kaminsky. Kaminsky goes in, sends it, feeds it underneath, sends back out to Hancock with a three-point at the buzzer, and it counts. And that is halftime. Warriors now lead 26-11 over Wayne Blue Devils. We have the halftime show coming our way here in a little bit, and we will actually see, I believe, Winterguard, who's been putting on a lot of practice and a good show. Also have a free throw competition for a chance to win scholarships. We'll be able to see that here in a little bit. Oh, so we have the Sapphires. Now, unfortunately, we cannot play the music on YouTube, so we will come back. We'll let you watch, but we cannot let the music play on this because of copyright issues. So, again, we'll come back and say thank you to the sponsors here in a moment. right, we're getting ready for the second half of play. Warriors leading 26-11 over the Wayne Blue Devils. Again, we want to say thank you to all of the sponsors. Tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett. All the sponsors include JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska. Excuse me, that one jumped up at me. Anyway, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store and Retire Path Advisors, Sid Dillon and Wahoo Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. Warriors get the ball to start off. So we have Glock inbound to Kaminsky. Hands off to Hesser. Hesser over to Brigham. Brigham gets a nice pass from Kaminsky with a double-handed slam dunk for Hesser. 28-11. Pass across the top of the key. Picked up and sent over to Jorgensen. Jorgensen gets it underneath and follow up underneath by Munter. Was able to drive it in for two. 28-13. Kaminsky gets it to Hesser. Hesser tries to put it up, gets his own rebound, and third attempt ends up going out of bounds. Turnover to the Blue Devils. Blue Devils, they have Kneifel. Sends it all the way across to the far side for Clausen. Clausen gets it back up to the top of the key. Kneifel to Munter, and tries a three. Rebound by Kaminsky. Gets it underneath to Hesser. And then that is stolen away by Kneifel. And then he draws the foul. That's the first team foul. Second personal foul by Hesser. Kneifel with the ball. Gets it across over to Jorgensen. Jorgensen sends it in underneath. Blue Devils top of the key. Send it across to the far side. Back underneath. Driving in. Jorgensen tries to put it up and is not able to get it to drive in. Glock with the rebound. Gets it over to Kaminsky. Bring him to Hesser. Hesser back out to Glock. Glock goes to three, drives in, puts it up, and it rims out. Rebound by the Blue Devils. Coming back and not able to get it to drop in. Munter sends it back out. Pass over to Jorgensen. Jorgensen gets it to the near corner for Munter. Munter sends it out to Reinhardt. Kniffel back to Munter. And a three-point attempt off target. Rebound by Kaminsky. Kaminsky sends it in underneath to Brigham. Bounce pass to Shada, goes up and puts it in for two. Trying to get it across the timeline. Able to do so. Driving in the lane, puts it up, and it rims out. Rebound by Hesser. So going down and grabbing that ball, we see Reinhardt and then calling the timeout. So the Blue Devils able to maintain the possession of the ball. Warriors leading 30-13 in the third period. Wayne traveling down with some sleet outside earlier. See what the weather's like when this is all said and done. It is that time of year. Warriors have been doing a good job on both offense and defense. Now, Blue Devils just called a short timeout to maintain possession. Inbound over to Kniffel. Back to the top to Nelson. Nelson at the top of the key. Back to Kniffel. Underneath as Reinhardt tries to put it up, but not able to get it to drop in. Kaminsky with the rebound, sends it back over to Brigham. Hesser at the top of the key to Kaminsky. Underneath to Hancock, who goes up and gets fouled on the way up. So that's sending him to the free throw line. It's the first team foul for the Blue Devils of the third period. And it's the first personal foul for Chase Nelson. Griffin Hancock at the free throw line. The first attempt is up, and that is good. Attempt number 2 is up, and that is good. Warriors with a full court press. Brigham looking for help, and stolen by Hesser, who comes in and puts it up for 2. They get into Nelson's hands on the near side. Clausen back to Nelson. Nelson drives in, and he gets fouled on the way in, so looks like he's going to be sent to the free throw line. And that is going to be the second team foul. First personal foul for Griffin Hancock. First attempt is up, and that is good. It's a 20-point lead for the Warriors, 34-14. One more free throw attempt. Nelson's second attempt, and that is good. Hesser inbounds to Chase Kaminsky. Gets across the timeline, sends it over to Hancock. Hancock to Brigham. Brigham on the far side. Hesser looked at the 3, back over to Brigham, all the way far side for Kaminsky. Hancock underneath, sends it out to Brigham with a 3-pointer, and that is good. Drains that one, and now it's 37-15. Blue Devils on the move. Sends it all the way across. The pass goes out of bounds, and turnover to the Warriors. Hancock inbounds to Kaminsky. Kaminsky back to Brigham. Brigham to Hesser at the top of the key, back to Brigham. Kaminsky on the right side. Fakes in, sends it all the way over to Brigham. 3-point, and that one is good. Chip Brigham with a 3-pointer. Driving in. And that was Jackson Kniffy with a 3-pointer, or the 2-pointer, drives in. But Coming back around, looked like that was Glock with the coming in back after, putting it up. Out of bounds off of Hesser, so that becomes the Blue Devils ball. 42-17, 2:07 left of the third period, and with that, I believe we have looks like the Blue Devils took the timeout on that one, so we'll go ahead and take a timeout. It's a full timeout. We want to say thank you to all the sponsors, part of our broadcast, part of the student life, part of the athletic activities. Tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett. We also want to say thank you to all the sponsors a part of the scoreboard and athletic department. JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store, and Retire Path Advisors. Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. Warriors taking the lead 42-17. Blue Devils with the inbound underneath at their own baseline. Send it over with the three-point attempt, and it's long. The rebound is not able to go. Hesser with the rebound, sends it over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky brings it over to Hancock. The three-point is off the mark. Rebound by the Blue Devils, Jackson Kniffel. Driving in. Had to readjust what they were doing, but sends it back out for a three-point. Drew Reinhardt is able to drop that one in. Warriors send it to Hesser. His three is good. Drains that one. Full court press by the Warriors. Double team. Passes it over. The three-point is good for number 14, I believe that was, Munter. Kaminsky drives in, turnaround, jumper is up, and bounces around, drops in. So they don't give him the 2 points. They say that that's a foul against him. And so that gives a free two shots for Drew Reinhardt. First one, no good. Second one, as that is good. And now Wayne gets the inbound. Turn over the near side, three-point attempt, and that one's off the mark. Rebound by Glock. Glock gets it over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky sends it over to Kelly. Kelly on the far side to Hancock. Kaminsky drives in, but ends up sending it out of bounds off of Jackson Kniffel. Stays with the Warriors. Hancock to inbound. Gets it in underneath to Kaminsky. Kaminsky drives around, puts it up, and is able to get it to drop in. Those two count. Blue Devils on the attack on the far side. Hands it off, the drive in. There was a push, but nothing called. And that is the end of 3. Warriors lead 49-25. A lot of people were looking at some of those calls going, okay, is that what's going to happen there? But we'll go ahead and, again, respect the officials. They have a hard job, and they're trying to do the best they can with everything they do. So tonight's game is sponsored by Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Ambassador Real Estate, Tammy Bennett. Also, we want to say thank you to sponsors like JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank in Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store and Retire Path Advisors, Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, and Tim and Seth Molly Construction. You can watch all the activities on bsdnlive.com. Go to the Wahoo link, as well as Saunders County Online YouTube, Wahoo Public Schools YouTube, and 99.3 FM, Saunders County, and WahooRadio.com. Blue Devils on the inbound, pass it off to the top of the key, goes across the near side. Drives it all the way, three-point attempt by Reinhardt, and that is rebounded by Kaminsky. Sends it forward to Hesser. Hesser sends it forward to Glock. Glock with a three, and that is good. 52-25. Blue Devils get it across the timeline. Fake it, hand off, get it over to Reinhardt. Reinhardt gets it in to Nelson. Nelson back to Reinhardt. Goes to the top of the key for Jorgensen. Gets it all the way across to Munter. Munter sends it in. Hesser gets a hand on it, but Jorgensen drives in, puts it up. And it is in the hair, and they say Kaminsky is the last one to touch that one. That one stays with Wayne. We see Glock come out. Eli Shada comes in. Blue Devils replace a couple of players as well. Inbound, looked at the three, drives into the lane, turns around, sends it back over to Munter. Munter at the top of the key picks it up, looking for help. And going up and able to put it in, that was Kip Brigham with two. He sent it across the far side, driving it in, hands it off, going up, and so we see Kniffel going up, and he gets caught by Kelly. Joel Kelly gets the foul, and that is sending Jackson Kniffel to the free throw line. First one is good. Shada comes out, and they are sending in Quincy Gigstad. First time we're seeing him in this game. Second one is good. Warriors to inbound. Joel Kelly inbounds to Kaminsky. Sends it across to Brigham. Brigham gets all the way across to Hesser. Hesser looking for help. Gets it to Brigham on the near side. Brigham going to the top of the key. Picks it up. Hands it over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky hands it underneath to Kelly. Quick pass back out to Brigham. Brigham looking for help. Bounce pass underneath. And a couple of passes gets over to Gigstad, and he's able to put it in. 56-27. Bounce pass underneath, going in, not able to drop it in. Rebound by Kaminsky. The pass tries to get to Kelly, but goes through everybody's hands and out of bounds. Comes a Blue Devil ball. Inbound to the near side, hands it over to Kneifel. Kneifel gets it back over to Reinhardt. Reinhardt to the top of the key for Jorgensen, drives in, back over. Kneifel tries the three-pointer. Not able to do anything with it. Rebound by the Warriors, get it over to Kaminsky. Kaminsky hands it to Brigham. Brigham gets it over to Gigstad, drives in, puts it up, and it is able to drop it in. 58-27. Able to get in front of it. We see Hancock able to steal and put it in for two. Driving in the lane, turned around, and getting fouled on the way up. So who's going to receive the foul on that one? So that is the first personal foul for Gigstad. At the free throw line is Jace Jorgensen. 2 attempts. First one is good. So Gigstad's coming back in. We also see Brody Milliken coming in. And Joel Simon. Second free throw is good. 60-29, 4:44 left in the game. Top of the key, we see Hancock. Gets it over to, again, Milliken. Underneath to Kelly. The rebound goes up and is able to drop it in. Milliken was able to get that one to drop in on the rebound. 62-29. Across to the top of the key to the far side. Bounce pass underneath. Driving in. Jumper and no good, but gets a penalty. So we see Theo Clausen going to the free throw line. It's the second personal foul for Joey Kelly. Third team foul, 4:10 left. First is off the mark, bounces out. Second one up, and that one rims in. Kelly inbounds to Hancock. Hancock sends it to the far side. Comes all the way across to Milliken on the near side. Milliken underneath to Simon. Simon to Hancock. The three is good. Starzal gets it across. Top of the key for the Blue Devils. Blue Devils comes across. Starzal top of the key. Goes to the near side. Miller takes a three-point attempt, and that one's off the mark. And that one goes off the out of bounds off of the rebound from Joel Simon. Nope, they didn't call it that way. I thought I saw him touch it, but it is a Warrior ball. Hancock gets it over to Simon. Milliken with a three-point attempt. Bounces out. Rebound by the Blue Devils. Blue Devils on the attack. 3 minutes left. 65-30. Three-point attempt, and that is good by Drew Miller. Inbound to Hancock. Hancock sets up on the far side. Gets it over to Joe Kelly. Underneath the Milliken. Actually, I'm sorry, that is turnover to the Blue Devils. Top of the key, comes to the near side. Looking to come across, sends it across the top to the far side. Looked at the three, but decided to drive in, puts it up, and gets the foul, but does not get it to drop in. So that is sending Drew Miller to the free throw line, and that is a foul against Quincy Gigstad, his second personal foul, fourth team foul. First attempt, bounces and then drops in. And looks like they call it timeout. So with that, it's a quick timeout. 2:27 left. Warriors 65. 34 is what Wayne Blue Devils have. Again, you can watch all of this over and over by going to our YouTube channels, either Saunders County Online YouTube or Wahoo Public Schools YouTube. You can easy access that through the Wahoo Public Schools websites or bsdnlive.com. So multiple ways to be able to get this. So we're looking for the second attempt from the free throw line for Drew Miller. Couple of dribbles, and it's up, and that is off the mark. Rebound by Hancock. Sends it over to Simon. Simon to Gigstad. Gigstad sends it across again to Simon. Simon sends it all the way to Kelly. Bounce pass underneath to Gigstad. To Simon. Looked at the three. But Hancock, he pulls the trigger on it. And able to put it up on the rebound was Gigstad. Blue Devils on the far side. Top of the key. Back across the far corner. Driving in underneath, looking for help. Back out. Three-point attempt is up, and that one rims out. And that's rebounded by Milliken. Hancock sends it back over to Simon. Simon to Kelly on the far side. Kelly looking to drive in, puts it up, and is able to drop it in. Warriors 69-34, minute 16 left. Starzl with the ball, sends it over to Patfield. Patfield sends all the way across the three-point attempt, and that is good by Drew Miller. Less than a minute. Hancock across the timeline, passes it forward to Kelly. Underneath to Simon, who's able to lay it up and in. 71-37. Driving in, trying to get it underneath, and so we have a penalty that's going to be called, I believe. Looks like that might be against Kelly, Joel Kelly, and that would be his third personal foul. Team's fifth, and that is sending Drew Miller back to the free throw line. First attempt bounces out. So 39.7 seconds left. Warriors ahead 71-37. Wayne has a long ride home. Next one up, and that one bounces out, and rebound by the Blue Devils. Across the top of the key. Comes to the near side. So Miller looking to drive, gets it back over to Patfield. And then the three-point attempt is off the mark. A rebound by Starzl goes out of bounds, and so it's turned over to the Warriors. Kelly inbounds to Hancock. Gets across the timeline. 16 seconds left. Shot clock, regular clock, same clock now. They may just dribble this one out. And that could be the game. Yep, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Warriors win 71-37. Again, want to say thank you to all of the sponsors, part of our broadcast and part of the Athletic Booster Club. Tonight's game sponsor is Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Tammy Bennett. We also want to say thank you to JEO, Wahoo State Bank, First Bank of Nebraska, Saunders Medical Center, Wahoops, Union Bank and Trust, Woodsmith Builders, Simon's Home Store and Retire Path Advisors, Sid Dillon of Wahoo, Titles, Wahoo Dental Associates, Saunders County Chiropractic, Rivalry, Hardy Acres, Wahoo Concrete, Edward Jones, Josh Kruger, Shutt Electrical and Contracting, Tim and Seth Molly Construction. Well, that's going to wrap it up. I hope everybody has a great weekend. We'll see you next time. It is a great day to be a Warrior, both